Hi, if you're a Mormon or a Latter-day Saint and you're watching this, thanks for watching. I've spoken to other people from LDS before, and when I ask them, how do you know the Book of Mormon is true? They tell me I've prayed, and I know. And prayer is really good. Prayer is a great, great privilege and a wonderful weapon that God has given us to pray to Him and be able to have Him hear us and work in certain situations. But the Bible tells us in 1 Thessalonians 5:21, it says to test everything. Test everything. Okay, so how do we test things? According to the Bible, to the scriptures. Let's look at the Bible, because that's the book that both Christians and Latter-day Saints agree on. So how do you test? Now, if you read Acts chapter 17, when Paul and Silas go to Berea, it says in verse 11, "Now these Jews were more noble than those in Thessalonica. They received the word with eagerness, examining the scriptures daily to see if these things were so." So what did they do? They examined the scriptures to see if this new teaching that Paul brought them was true. Right? So Paul comes with a new teaching, and they're like, okay, hold on, Paul, we're going to check the scriptures. And they had the Old Testament scriptures, right? And they checked them, and they determined that what Paul was saying was true. So when someone like, let's say, Joseph Smith comes and brings a new teaching, we need to do like these people did and say, okay, hold on, let me check it with the scriptures and make sure that it agrees, right? Because if it doesn't agree, then it can't be true, because the scriptures don't contradict themselves. God never contradicts himself. So if you don't mind, I'd like to test just two of the things that I've been told by Latter-day Saints and that I've read, and I'd like to hear from you if this is something I've misunderstood, or if this is something that you feel, hey, you're right, there's a problem here. So if you could, let's just take those two. All right, so one of the things I'd like for you to explain to me is, okay, according to what Joseph Smith said, people can become gods one day. Okay? And I've also spoken to a Latter-day Saint person once, and he told me that they believe that there can be more than one God. But if you go to Isaiah 43 verse 10, it says, "Before me no God was formed, nor shall there be any after me." Okay, so before me there was no God, and nor shall there be any after me. So how is this possible? Isn't this a contradiction? God says that there won't be any other God after me or before me. I'm the only God. None before, none after. I'm it. That's what God says. So could you please explain that? And don't you see a contradiction here? Because I do. Let's just be honest with ourselves. We should be seeking the truth and not trying to justify our own position, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all going to stand before God, right? The other thing, actually, if you even read Isaiah 44 verse 6, it says, "Thus says the Lord, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer, the Lord of hosts, I am the first and I am the last. Besides me there is no God." That, I think, adds to the argument we just made. Okay, the other thing I would like to have a look at and ask, what you think, and if you see a contradiction, is the fact that I've been told as well, I've read that Latter-day Saints believe that God wasn't always God, that he became God. okay, that he was a person once or something, and then he became God, right? But if we look at the Bible again, in Psalms 90, chapter 2, it says, "From everlasting to everlasting, you are God." So from everlasting, go as far back as you want, you are God. Go as far forward to everlasting, you are God. And even about Jesus, the New Testament says, Jesus Christ the same, yesterday, today, and forever. Right? That he hasn't changed. So the Bible seems to support the fact that God was always God, from everlasting to everlasting. So here again, I see a problem, and I'd like to hear from you again. And I just want to once again say thank you for watching, and also to emphasize the fact that what we should be seeking is truth, God's truth, because if we try and justify our position and we're wrong, then when the day comes and we die and we're going to be, stand before God, we're going to be in trouble, right? What we need to seek is God's truth, and to be open to the fact that, hey, maybe I missed something. So I'd love to hear from you. Thanks.